I'll admit it straight. 20 acres of stubborn. Wyoming dirt taught me more about patience than any preacher ever could, until the morning progress showed up in khakis and a clipboard, trying to measure my fence line like it belonged to them. This land came from my mother's side, an old cattle stretch with a rusted gate stamped Harper. For years, the only visitors down that washboard road were wind gusts, mule deer, and maybe a neighbor looking for jumper cables. Then one day the quiet cracked. Across the county road, some new heritage development board decided they knew better than history. They called it revitalization. I called it intrusion. The only trail that could handle my hay trucks cut through the east pasture, same as it had since '72. They started with sweet talk, offered 50,000 for an easement, then 75, then a number big enough to make most folks choke. But money can't buy a promise my mother made under that cottonwood tree. They tried charm next, some guy with cologne and fake concern. Just a few days, he said. Cement trucks. Big project. Good for everyone. I gave him the same answer. I gave his flyers and emails. This isn't about convenience. It's about respect. His clipboard snapped like punctuation. You might regret that, he muttered, mumbling about public works and civic duty. You're on private ground, I told him, thumbing the sheriff's number with soil under my nails. He peeled out before the cruiser hit the ridge, tires chewing gravel like teeth. The deputy's shrug didn't mean much, but the incident report was enough to plant a flag in ink. Then came the leaflets, glossy propaganda wedged in the gate hinges, shouting about safety and progress, like I was sitting on the cure for civilization. I welded on a second hasp for good measure, mounted a motion sensor along the north tree line, and swapped my keypad for a retinal scanner a friend salvaged from a decommissioned airfield. Call it cautious if you want. I call it memory. 3 nights later, 2:47 a.m., quiet enough to hear frost settling. My phone buzzed once. North perimeter alert. 2 shapes pressed against the fence. One carried a crowbar, the other a folder. Both wrapped head to toe in black, like amateurs playing spy. Boots, coat, pulse steady. My jacket's lining tripped the silent alarm, the kind you wire by hand if you don't trust contractors. One figure unfolded a sheet of paper, waving it like scripture. Even in the dark, I caught the absurdity. No county clerk stamps anything at 2:47 a.m., and no legitimate badge says High Plains Development Inspector. That's theater, not law. Then came the strobe of headlights cresting the ridge faster than I dared hope. Deputies poured light across the pasture, and my trespassers froze mid-gesture. Tool guy dropped his prize. Clipboard man sprinted and got tackled before the gate. By dawn, my attorney had filed charges naming High Plains Collective and its chairwoman, Ms. Lang, for unlawful entry, falsified documents, and attempted coercion. The committee did what committees do, issued a polished statement dripping with regret, blamed a rogue subcontractor, vowed transparency, and sanitized everything except their intent, meaning they never expected a witness. The smear game kicked in, textbook and sloppy. Screenshots archived, metadata logged, evidence locked. That's how it went. Next morning, an excavator groaned up the county road, diesel coughing, paint sun-bleached. The foreman swore they had clearance. Temporary grade permit, surface impact only. Repeating regional directive like repetition made it legal. I kept the camera rolling. High Plains countered with headlines. Handmade signs sprouted outside my fence. Open the road. Access saves lives. Along the roadside, regulars sat in folding chairs, thermoses ready, waiting for a clip to cast me as the villain. I refused to feed them drama. I stayed in the porch shade, chewing jerky like a cigar, letting the cameras search and find nothing. The red LED on my helmet cam blinked steady. Officer Ruiz arrived and watched the footage, frame by frame, then slowed to the moment the man glanced at the crowd. That pre-fall look was everything. The confirmation their stunt was staged. False reports will earn you an ankle monitor faster than a summons, and Ruiz logged the evidence neat. Timestamps, angles, chain notes. We need a clear escalation, he said. If he raises his voice, we step in. I pulled a screenshot, a $500 first Venmo-labeled appearance fee, printed it, and added it to the file. Their plan wasn't legal finesse. It was attrition through optics. Make me a headline a judge would rather bury. So I took away their sound, I opened the gate not to concede, but to invite daylight and records, and staged an open ledger day. 2 canvas canopies in my gravel drive, one with deeds, plats, tax receipts, and a buyer's contract laminated, with the clause circled in orange, Southern. Ingress not guaranteed. The other canopy held my apprentices, sharpening blades, tuning mowers, and handing out small repairs for free, a practical kindness that loosened tongues. Phone cameras hunched on. Tripods and teenagers in the crowd filmed with nails bitten to the quick. The angles that wanted a fight when hungry. Reporters arrived with notebooks and handheld mics. Families came to stare at maps and ask the hard questions. I led them to the boundary, pointed at the battered post the excavator had nicked, and said people will trade comforts to sleep easier. But the last thing you should ever sell is who still holds the key to your gate. That's when the real turn showed up. Khakis, clipboard under one arm, Cap turned backward like he'd just remembered how young he used to be. Said his name was Drew Kaplan, finance chair for the High Plains Collective. But he spoke softly. I'm here as a neighbor, not as the board, he said their president. Had sworn the access deal was finalized months ago, contracts pending signatures. His eyes said he'd just realized how deep the hole went. Before leaving, he handed me an envelope. Emails, board memos, screenshots, each one circled in red like wounds. I read them against the laminated deed. Northern access not guaranteed. Clear as sunrise. Then came Drew's affidavit, claims of falsified votes, hidden revisions, and those same staged clips that had turned protests into theater. One message sealed it. We can wear him down. The judge took it in silence, leaned back, and exhaled through her nose, a sound that hit harder than a gavel. Motion denied with prejudice, legal shorthand for, don't try this again. She passed it all. To the DA, fraud, forgery, and conspiracy review. Outside, a junior board member muttered, we thought we were just being thorough. I told him, persistence builds bridges. Siege tears them down, and your boss came marching. 2 days later, the audit hit daylight. High Plains books showed over 200,000 siphoned into. Resolution consulting, paper trails, dissolving like fog. Residents filed formal grievances. Chairwoman Lang was let out in cuffs. Down the same lane she'd renamed for herself. The state installed a provisional overseer, laid down reinforced concrete you could park a semi on, mounted solar markers, and set a handcrafted sign that read clear as gospel. Private property, no entry, association has no authority. A friend from the local foundry surprised me with a duplicate sign, gold trimmed, so the sunset caught it like quiet defiance. I'll admit watching, that shimmer makes the morning coffee taste a little sweeter. Neighbors wander over now, the same ones who used to peek from porches. Some bring casseroles, some bring curiosity. A few bring remorse for mistaking headlines for truth. I don't hold it against them, but the gate stays locked, because every scar earns its post, and some lessons are better hammered in deep. Still, there's a question that won't quite leave my tongue. The lingering question, the one I still circle around like a fence post after dark, is this. Where does the border truly live between what serves the many and what belongs to the one who paid, built, and sleeps beneath it? Does public good become a universal key that fits every lock? Or does ownership still hold weight when the crowd chants progress and the headlines echo pressure? You've heard my account, the midnight trespass, the forged permits, the staged scuffle, the paper trail that led to court and the cuffs that finally clicked. Now I want to hear yours. Was I right to dig in? Or should I have opened the gate and swallowed the cost for everyone else's comfort? Where do you draw that invisible line? At the fence? At the signature? At the first survey marker buried in your dirt? Tell me what fairness means when a neighborhood wants your land but not your voice. Out here, the wind still moves through the grass. The coyotes still answer the moon. And the iron sign at the end of my road still bears my name. But the question, that part belongs to anyone willing to wrestle with it.